With a stacked year of games, it's hard for any one to just stand out. I mean, Wolverine, GTA 6, Pragmata, The Batman. With all these super AAA titles fighting for your wallet, there's really only one genre that has any room for more titles. And that's the indie scene. Silksong is the undefeated champion of indie, and it'll probably keep that title until Hollow Knight Cotton Sonnet comes out. But since Silksong isn't competing anymore, that leaves this year's greatest indie game slot wide open. This year has no shortage of indie games coming out, and I won't lie, it's hard to say which one will come on top. But after finding out about this recently released demo for this little game, Replaced, I have a good idea that this one will be talked about for a bit. For 8-bit. This game first came onto my radar while I was scrolling TikTok at work. You know, normal employee behavior. Right away it looked interesting and I was curious what it could be. After checking on Steam, I noticed that a demo was available, so I thought why not? As soon as I booted it up and took a few steps, it was clear that this was something pretty special. It adopts a 2.5D perspective, so it's a 2D scroller with 3D environments to add some sense of depth. It uses pixel graphics for the characters, so everyone has a retro feel to them. I'm assuming that the models are still 3D, but they move and look like 2D. I guess that's where the 0.5 comes in. The environments aren't entirely 2D and have a bit of depth to them. It makes it look unique and not like just another side-scroller. Speaking of environments, the moment that I took more than 10 steps, I was blown away by how well they use the colors. As soon as the sunlight hits, the world really comes alive despite it being a bunch of pixels. The demo only shows about 3 different areas, but each of them look great and show the vibe that this game goes with. Kind of a retro cyberpunk post-apocalypse. The fact that this game already looks great really goes to show that you don't need graphical fidelity to make a game look good. I can't wait to see what kind of environments this game will have when it fully comes out. The demo starts off with a smidge of exposition. This man is Warren, who was working at the Phoenix Corporation. I'll give you 2 guesses where it's located. The corporation was walled off into a section that was protected from the rest of the world. While there, he and his best friend developed an AI that they named Reach. Something happened, however, and it cost them the life of their best friend / co-creator. In Warren's grief, Reach somehow ended up in Warren's body. So, I guess technically we're playing as 2 characters? Well, at least we'll have someone to talk to. Because of the accident, a damage control team was dispatched. But instead of helping everyone, they decided to kill everyone, causing Warren and Reach to flee, eventually leading them to go outside of the city walls. Which leads them to the beginning of the demo. They, or I guess we, now have to make our way back into the city to access our lab and give Warren his body back. But outside the walls is a dangerous place. There's bad people waiting for us. And I don't think they just want to talk. The demo gives us a taste of what the combat looks like. They make it clear that the full game will be just a little different, stating that they're giving us the gun a lot earlier than in the full game. But hey, I'm not complaining. From this demo, it's clear that this is a beat 'em up. It brings all the classic beat 'em up bells and whistles. You attack, dodge, counter. I won't lie, it's not revolutionary, but this is just the introduction, so they have plenty of room to grow. They have a solid base here, and the combat is pretty fun, even though it's kinda simple. Where the demo really shines though is with the finishers. Remember that gun I mentioned? For some reason, its ammo is linked to the amount of damage you deal. Punch enough enemies and you get to shoot a bullet. Yeah, only one. But bear with me. You can use it to attack an enemy from afar, or you can use it on someone that you've beat up on for a bit to activate one of these badass finishers. The game isn't out yet, but I can 100% say that these will be the highlight of the game. Finishers bring in the camera right up close and personal so you can see all those juicy animations. These things are sick. The combat itself is pretty smooth, but these finishers, man, just straight up buttery smooth. I have no idea how a guy who developed an AI can be capable of something like this. So combat is pretty nifty, but it's really only 20% of the demo. The rest of it is light platforming and evading detection. These guys control the train tracks, so they're constantly on the lookout with their massive gun and spotlight, shooting at anything that moves. The platforming is pretty simple. Again, this is just a demo, so it could get a lot more complicated the deeper into the actual game we get. For now, it's just climbing walls, vaulting, or at least trying to. Tripped. And swinging from pipes. Throughout the level, we can find notes written by the past inhabitants of these parts. This provides a deeper look into the lore of this world. And I gotta say, it does sound pretty interesting. We barely get anything, but I can tell that the writing is certainly a priority. And some of these notes are straight up Shakespearean works of art.
That's a bar right there. They say they are building the arcs, but I see Babylon towers. Damn.
Leaning into the retro vibe, all the notes can be accessed using an old school inspired gadget called the Wingman. I bet most of us are too young to even know what that's referencing. The Wingman is pretty clearly going to be used as the main hub of information. We can check notes, look at tutorials, check objectives, and... oh, I can't wait to see what this is. We make our way past these ruined lands, occasionally having to avoid being detected and straight up kicking ass. So far, we get a good look at the enemy variety. We got regular enemies, armed enemies, and the big guys. And none of them stand a chance against the power of AI and gunpowder. Eventually, our luck runs out and we're face to face with that damn train that's been hunting us. It looks like hope is lost. We reached our endpoint. What a cliffhanger to end this demo on. A mysterious stranger comes to talk to us. This is pretty weird considering he's the only person we've met that actually doesn't attack. This guy's Tempest, and I can tell right off the bat that we're gonna be best friends going forward. We ask for help and he offers to give us a ride. We don't really have any other options, so we run after him, bringing this demo to a close. For real this time. Man, that was pretty great. It didn't take me long to complete, roughly about 25 minutes, but I'm not gonna lie, it sold me on it pretty quickly. The art style is nice to look at, the combat was fast-paced and satisfying, and the story so far is pretty interesting. It'll be pretty cool to see where this leads. Warren and Reach are an interesting pair, and I'm curious to see how their dynamic will grow throughout the rest of the main game. The combat is pretty smooth considering this is just a small taste. They have a high ceiling to explore and stack on more mechanics and enemies, and I have no doubt that that's exactly what they'll do. Replace fully releases on April 14th on Steam, and of course the demo is available to play for anyone. Wait, why does it sound like an ad? I swear I'm not sponsored. They didn't want to pay me. Anyway, this is shaping up to be a pretty good release. Unfortunately, my prediction is that it'll be overshadowed by Pragmata, which releases literally 2 days afterwards. That's a pretty big shame because clearly everyone involved put a lot of effort into this one. So if you made it this far, why not at least try the demo to see if it's up your alley, and to support the team. And while you're at it, why not hit that like button and share to support me, and subscribe to hear what I think of the full game when it comes out. Until next time, this really could have been a YouTube short, couldn't it?